Hello everyone, I'm Brian, welcome back, let's go ahead and continue.
And if I ask you a simple question, all of you, would you like a sharp mind or a blunt mind? Whatever you say yes, no, silence, I'll bless you. You want a sharp mind. Once we give you an instrument which is very sharp, you must know how to hold it. Why we don't give a sharp knife to a child's hand? Not because a knife is dangerous, never has it happened, a knife jumped and stabbed somebody. Did it ever happen? Not even down under. It is only the hand which handles it, whether this knife can be used to save a life or take a life, is determined by who is holding it, right? So the same thing goes for your mind. If you have a very sharp knife in your hand and you are a little la 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 kind, intestines will come out. Worse than that is happening right now. What human mind is doing to individual people, their own mind, what it is doing to them is worse than intestines coming out, more painful. Hello? All kinds of things. Why? Because if I give you a knife, first thing you should know which is blade, which is handle. If you hold the wrong end, tighter you hold, more it'll hurt. And if you don't know how to be conscious of how to hold it, it'll scrape you all over. So this is all that's happening. When you know all human experience is caused within you, is that so? Once again I'm checking with you. All human experience happens within you. What happens within you must happen your way, isn't it? The world will never happen your way, please know this. Little bit your way, little bit my way, little bit somebody else's way, that's how it should be. Everything happened your way, then where the hell do I go? It happens little bit your way, that's how. But this 1% must happen 100% my way. But right now, that's the only problem with life. This one is not happening your way, isn't it? If this one happened your way, what is the problem in the world? Whatever the situation, we'll deal with it to the best of our capabilities, that's all there is. Yes or no? Some situations we know how to handle, some situations we don't know how to handle. That's about it. Right now, you may not know what is the nature of your existence, but at least you should know what you're not.
I want… like, I have a feeling there are some people who understand that and a lot of people who don't. I wish Sadhguru would give slightly clearer answers, even though the things he says is pretty clear. It's just that I think there's some people out there, sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it doesn't go your way. It's more along the lines of things that just so happens to go, not necessarily in your control. So meaning that, sometimes when you're driving, or how to say, sometimes when you're working, all of a sudden you get a promotion, or someone gives you money, or someone brings you food or something like that. It goes your way. Had no control over that. As opposed to saying, sometimes you don't always get your way. Sometimes you may want something and it doesn't go your way. Sometimes you really want something and it does go your way. And the biggest key word there for me is the want portion, because things going your way doesn't always necessarily mean the want part. I'm sure there are some people out there who there's a distinction between want and things going your way. Those are two separate things where, you could be just driving on the highway and all of a sudden you're hitting every light's green and you're just like, wow, things are going my way, It's not like that you wanted the light to be all green, but it just so happens to be all green, so it's going your way. That's the difference, in my opinion, is that, like, when you're driving down the road, he's like, man, I want all the lights to be green. And then if it does go your way, that's great. If it doesn't, then it's like, my gosh, I'm not getting my way. Whereas the other one's like, oh, just… I hope you get what I'm saying. It's like, again, the key word there being the want portion. So I wish you'd also add, or at least the want being a stronger argument, not stronger argument, stronger telling of things not going your way. Sometimes you want things to happen the way that you want it to go, and it just doesn't end up that way. And sometimes there are things that you don't want to go your way, or you don't care if it goes your way or not, and it does. It just happens, like green light when you're driving. You're going to work and it's all green light. It's telling you that you need to get to work. But I hope they, and maybe saying it that way, the want specifically, because I think that's what most people will argue for. It's not whether things go their way or not. It's more along the lines of what they want goes their way. Again, specifically, sometimes there are people out there who will disassociate want and things going their way. Some will see those as one and the same. Like if things go my way, that means it's something that I want and whatnot.
Suddenly if you think I'm a flower, there's going to be a serious problem. Similarly, see, this is happening to you every day. Food appears on your plate. You say, this is my food. You eat it, then you say, this is me. Ridiculous, isn't it? So will we get it now that the food that you ate is just a part of this planet, the soil that you woke up on? Will we get it now, or will we only get it from the maggots one day? We'll anyway get it one day. But if we get it now, you can transform your life. Then you can make good manure. Anyway, it's useful, I'm saying, to somebody, not to you. Please.
I just want to go back a little bit where you talked about identifying with certain things, because when we grow up and as adults, we tend to identify with everything because we have this longing to belong. And if we identify with something, so a lot of people in this room identify with what you have to say. You talk about the fact that, to go within is where all the answers are, yet there's 5,000 people in this room sitting here seeking inspiration and answers from you because they identify with things that you say.
I have a feeling Sadhguru's going to talk about there's nothing wrong with identifying. Just make sure you identify with the mass group. Don't identify with the little things like your religion, your race, your favorite food, or your favorite color. Identify as the human race. That way it's more inclusive.
See, I mean, we don't want to play with words, so to make you understand this, it is not because of what I have spoken they are the way they are, because of simple practices that they're doing in their life, because it's brought the necessary transformation. Words anybody can say. Today you will hear this and tomorrow you will go. The best things have been said to you right from your childhood, by your parents, by your teachers, by many people, isn't it? Great things have been said, but they don't stick because there is no experiential dimension to it. It is just psychological. When something is fresh, it means something. After 3 days, you've forgotten what it is. This is how it happens. So because there is a practice, there is an experiential process, with that you have realized at least a little bit. That realization is always transformative. It's the transformation which makes the difference, not the identity.
And what is that practice? What is that process?
I would assume that like even traumatic experience can be transformative. Because there's going to be a lot of people out there who do certain things and they say, yeah, I'll do it later, and all of a sudden something traumatic happens to them. It's like, you know what, I need to do that now. I need to make changes in my life so that doesn't happen again. Or you can really see this as examples with people. I'm not saying every single person will do it, but it tends to happen to the majority, I believe, and to different degrees. So a good example for me is people who have loved ones who've died because, say, like a type of disease, leukemia or cancer. You'll see some of them start up leukemia, donation things, to raise awareness to leukemia, to get donations so they can donate to like leukemia research centers and stuff like that, cancer centers, and all of these things. Those are very, very people who have been greatly impacted. The next kind of, I guess, the next level down, I suppose, because not everyone can do that kind of thing, is to just influence people around them that they love. It's like, I lost someone great that had leukemia or cancer or whatever, and they make sure that the people that they love, go get tested. If there's a procedure, you get tested every year or whatever to make sure that they don't have it, and they themselves will also do it as well. Then the next level down would be only them. They was like, man, I had a loved one that died, and now I want to do it too. I want to make sure I don't happen the same way. And the next level down would be is the fact that they had it and they survived it, and now they take extra precautions to prevent it from coming back. Like they beat it, but it might have come back, or they have a heart attack, and it's like their bad eating habits, or not exercising, whatever. Then they they really make the change in their lives. Again, not a lot of there's a lot more people that do make changes than don't, but there are of course people who don't make changes who just go right back to their old living ways.
As I said, we generally call it inner engineering because we've engineered the world. See, our lives have improved in so many ways because of engineering, isn't it? Today we are sitting in this hall because it's engineered in a certain way. Now, yesterday you're in Japan, today you're here. This is engineering, you didn't swim or surf. Airplane brings you. So this must be understood. If suppose you did this 100 years ago, or let's say 200 years ago, you flew from Japan to here. If you claimed you are the messenger of God, we would believe you. If you say you're the daughter, there's no precedence, but still we would believe you. If you said, I'm herself, we would still believe you because you flew from Japan to here. But today we know you just flew by an airplane. A very common thing, everybody does that. Just a ticket. That's all it takes.
Yes.
So, what you call as magic or a miracle, see, 1,000 years ago, if I just had a light bulb, I could claim I'm the messenger of God and people would have believed. Just turn on the light, whoa, the whole population would bow down, yes or no? So what is one man's miracle is another man's engineering. This is called inner engineering. You engineer your interiority in such a way that it's the way you want. At least you should be the way you want. Nobody in the world will ever be 100% the way you want. Hello? You can agree with me, hello? Even if you have two people in your family, they are never 100% your way, isn't it? That's why most people got dogs these days.
I was gonna say, I don't know if they understood. Maybe they spoke a little bit, like, I don't know how to say, like, it's not an accent, but it's just, even I'm sure I do it too. Like, sometimes I say words too quickly that two words kind of combine, but you can kind of pick them out. But then the dogs part kind of cleared it up for sure.
But these days even they do their own thing. When they need food, they behave the way you want. Once they've eaten, they behave differently, the way they want. All right?
Once they have what they need.
So no one, just no one in your life will ever happen the way you want. This one person must happen, isn't it? If this one happened, if you happen just the way you want, would you keep yourself miserable or blissful? Blissful. For yourself, it's always the highest level of pleasantness, isn't it? Sometimes what you want for your neighbor may be debatable, but what you want for yourself is always highest level of pleasantness. What is pleasantness? See, if your body becomes pleasant, we call this health. You want it?
Yes.
See, from now on, when I ask you a question, yes, no, silence, I'm going to bless you, it's up to you. Health. If this becomes very pleasant, we call this pleasure. Oh, biggest, is it?
Yeah. They want pleasure.
If your mind becomes pleasant, we call this peace.
Yes.
If it becomes very pleasant, we call it joy. If your emotions become pleasant, we call this love. If it becomes very pleasant, we call it compassion. If your very life energies become pleasant, we call this bliss. If it becomes very pleasant, we call it ecstasy. If your surroundings become pleasant, we call this success. Only to create pleasantness in your surroundings, You need the cooperation of the world around you, many forces around you. To create pleasantness of the body, pleasantness of the mind, pleasantness of emotion and energy is 100% your business. Pleasantness in the world.
I'm laughing because you can see in her eyes like, oh my god. I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of a little bit of realization, along with being stomped. I'm sorry, I'm coughing. Jeez. But I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I think we all. I hope that we all kind of know this deep down, but we just don't realize it. To her, it seems like she just now knows this. It's kind of like there's something that you knew and it's obvious, but you just didn't know. It's you knew it deep down, but just didn't know it consciously. So it's kind of like I don't know. Like obviously we have control over our bodies, but it's just that we're not aware or conscious of it. But when someone says it, you're like, yeah, of course, it's obvious, kind of deal. But then a few days later, you forget about it, and then you just you act as though that you have no control over your body. And to me, her facial expression looked like, I have control over my body. It almost seems that way. I don't know. It's just me, I
Business.
guess. Because you see, she's not staring at Sadhguru. You see her kind of turn a little bit off to the side of Sadhguru and really staring deep and thinking.
Pleasantness in the world, you need cooperation from people, otherwise it will not happen. Getting cooperation from various forces and people is a question of skill. Not everybody can do it to the same extent, but keeping this one pleasant is 100% possible for every human being. Only thing is they have to become willing. Oh, Sadhguru, I'm willing, but I get angry. No, no, no. See, it is that butt, you have to kick that butt. Yes, but if you don't kick that butt, it's not going to happen. Yes, I want to be like this, but look at the way she is, I can't be happy with her being like this. There's no end to this. You want the whole damn world fixed before you can be peaceful and happy, you are not going to be peaceful and happy.
That's a new one, that end phrase there. In order for you to… I don't think I've heard him say that. This might be the first time, or maybe I just was oblivious to it. First time him saying, you want the whole world to be happy in order for you to be happy. That is, that sadly is very true in today's time, where… I don't want to say anything, but it's just very true today.
I believe that our lives are a direct reflection of what we believe to be true. So if we don't know what we believe, then we can have a look at our lives because they reflect back to us what we believe. Now, you were talking about if we focus, when we understand what we want, then we work towards that. But majority of the people that I work with through Awake Academy know what they don't want, more so than what they do want. So if we're addressing people's concerns from a place of don't want, how do we get them to connect with what they do want?
That's kind of weird. I would assume the opposite of what they don't want is what they do want. I don't know, maybe there are some things that are kind of unclear, I'm not sure. I wish you kind of gave an example though, like, I don't want to be sad. I have no idea what the opposite of not sad is. I don't think it's happy. I don't know. There could be some scenarios like that. I honestly don't know. Like maybe I don't want to work. It's like, well, okay, well, then you just don't work, but you're gonna have to find a way to provide, pay your bills. I mean, it seems pretty straightforward, but maybe I don't want to work, but I still want to make money. Well, I mean, it's still kind of like, then you just kind of have to have a different perspective on what is work and what is not work and still making money. There are people out there who thoroughly enjoy their jobs and they don't consider it work. and they absolutely love it, and they don't get paid. They could make more money, but because they love their job so much, they're willing to refuse more money just to continue to work where they're at. There's few of those people. I don't think it's a majority. I think it's a very small minority, but still they exist.
See, the only thing that human beings want is pleasant experience of life within and around. Just that different people are defining it in different ways. Somebody believes, I can be pleasant only if I get $1 billion. So his pleasantness is postponed for a certain number of years or maybe for good. So similarly, everybody is putting conditions. Sometimes they may be fulfilled, sometimes they are not. If they are fulfilled, you will realize it works for some time and then it drops off. So essentially, fundamental thing to understand is human experience comes from within. If you don't take charge of this, no matter where you are, no matter what you have, you can live in… See, recently something happened, people who are living in palaces, literally royal palaces, they committed suicide. They're living in a palace and they're committing suicide. Hello?
Yes.
You can even give example of like rich people too. I was gonna say something, but I forgot now.
See, the nature of mind is such, whatever you dwell upon, generally it manifests that. If you're dwelling upon, I don't want small waves, even the damn ocean will throw very small waves at you.
Yes, I don't want to be late.
So, this is what I said. You have a huge computer, but you don't have the keyboard. So somehow it's working. Once in a way, it works the way you want. Rest of the time, it's in reaction to other things. You must understand, the fundamental aspect of being human is this. You're the only creature on this planet who is referred to as a human being. Wombat, being, just a wombat. Elephant, being, no. Tiger, being, no. Ant, being, no. Only you are a being. What this means is, if you explore the possibility, you will know how to be. If you know how to be, then what is the problem? Right now the problem is you don't know how to be. So, this problem is because, you know, that Englishman Charles Darwin said, you were all monkeys at one time. Not me, that guy.
What were you?
Charles Darwin said,
Yeah.
you were all monkeys and then you became human. He also said other things, I'm making it very simplistic. A goat could have become a giraffe over 1,000,000 years' time. A pig could have become an elephant over many more million years of time. But a monkey became a man rather too quickly. Yes, to a point where anthropologists are searching for a missing link somewhere. Did you find any? So, if you look at the DNA science…
I think they did find a missing link. I think they did recently. When I say recently, within 10 years, I believe.
What the DNA scientists are saying today is, the DNA difference between you and a chimpanzee is only 1.23%. 1.23%, not much of a difference, isn't it? So physiologically, that's how close you are to a chimpanzee. But in terms of intelligence and awareness, you're worlds apart from a chimpanzee. So this is your problem. You have an intelligence for which you don't have a stable enough platform. Unless you stabilize this, your own intelligence is going to freak the hell out of your life.
We stabilize ourselves through…
Yes,
Self.
in many ways, you're on a surfboard stabilizing yourself.
Yes.
It works to some extent. Somebody dances, somebody sings, somebody does something else. Different types of activities people use to stabilize themselves. But any activity that you do, how many hours in 24 hours can you surf or dance or sing or do whatever? So this is why it is important you find an inner mechanism which wherever you are, it's always on. If you are doing this with physical activity, you get enslaved to that activity. See, right now, only if I sing I can be happy. I have to sing, all neighbors will have to vacate. I have to sing 24 hours, all right? Now for you, we have to throw 80-foot waves all the time.
Yes, please.
So I'm saying any activity that we do, only if I eat this I'll be happy, we'll have to be eating. Only if I drink this I'll be happy, we have to be drinking. Anything outside activity, if it decides our inner way of being, we get enslaved to that activity. And no activity is it possible for anybody to keep it on for 24 hours all the time. No activity, anything cannot be done unless it's an inner mechanism where you just know how to be. Like breath, it's happening, all the time it's happening. So this is where the yogic systems are important. We start with outer activity, slowly take it inward in such a way, a transition happens where even if you don't do anything, it's the same way. But with every other activity, you have to do that activity for you to get that experience. That's a fundamental difference.
So, yes, round of applause. So,
Okay, I'm gonna pause it right there. I noticed Sadhguru, luckily enough, I do understand Sadhguru. I've listened to enough of his videos to understand what he's saying. I just fear that a lot of them don't, because he, I don't know how to say, he's not stuttering per se, but he kind of goes a little bit quick on the examples, and sometimes they're not quite complete examples, and it could go over some people's heads. But again, I listen to Sadhguru a lot. A lot of his speeches tend to be very similar. Again, talking about the peaceful mind, peaceful emotions, peaceful body, ecstasy, bliss, and there's a few other things, that it's kind of something that he does have to say in every speech, because it is a basis and a very good thing to say to everyone, especially, assuming that this is their first time hearing him, and this is a very important part of in their engineering and what he teaches. You can't you can't stop explaining the basics when you're going to a speech for the first time. You must have those basic speeches, so it's going to be always a repeat in most of his speeches. But it is what comes kind of afterwards. The questions that ask, how are they answered? Because not everyone's going to always ask the same question, and sometimes even the same question might have a different answer. And when I mean different answer, I don't mean completely different. I mean it could be more of an answer. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Other than just say, like, there's answer A, then there's answer B, then there's answer C. They're all relatively the same, but with a little bit more information or a different perspective on the answer. That's the reason why I enjoy watching videos that, even though they have very similar introduction, you could say, sometimes context and how they're explained are different, which can help people understand things. But anyways, that's part 2 for Surfing the Waves of Life. Layne Beachley, not... can't remember what I said last time. Beckley? But Beachley. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, thumbs up, the sign down below. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next vid.